We're 1981 year.
But I mean, what number of podcasts?
I think that's hard to say. I'm just making sure this sounds real. All right. I have to hold. In addition to my emotional tension, there's a situation with the microphone. I have to kind of give it this kind of grip.
You got the Bob Barker hold on.
Bob Barker hold. Samoan women love Bob Barker.
Right.
Love to give him hugs. I got the worst fucking stool out of all the ones here. So we're on like podcast 2 through 6 or 7, and we got 2 online. One that needs to be taken down. I got one I need to edit. So this will be 3 or 4, I think.
Right.
Long story
That's
short.
like our golf tournaments. Like we don't really know, but we've done it so many times.
Yeah, it's a semi-regular event.
We'll just say this is podcast number 10.
We'll say this is number 10, which I know that's a lie, but the year is 1981.
Yep. And so
I'm not born yet. You are. You're.
Yes. So I was born in '76, but anyways, what?
So you were like very well born.
Yeah,
in
but I
81.
wasn't listening to. So the album that we chose for this podcast was I gave him 1981 would be Van Halen's Fair Warning.
Yeah.
And then Daniel gave me Motley Crue's Too Fast for Love.
Too Fast for Love, their debut record.
And so.
And I have an argument, or I have a proposition. I have a theory of philosophy about the Motley Crue record.
Okay.
It is an indie rock album.
Yeah, you're telling me about that.
It's an indie rock. They recorded it on their own in a few days. They had an independent distributor, but more importantly, there's some of the vocal styling is, kind of became that 80s hair metal thing, but
right.
You listen to it, I'm like, well, how different is this than like the Strokes or the White Stripes or the Black Keys?
Jet, I think.
Or Jet, it's literally a Jet album from 1981 to some extent.
And I have a feeling when those bands were doing that at that time, we're kind of going after that feel.
Similar sort of aesthetic, for lack of a better way to put it.
Raw,
like that sort of raw party, nothing counts. We'll never get old. We got a wrong way driver.
Yep. You're going to sleep. Pop your drugs, and then you're not going to remember about tomorrow. Yeah, the good days of
the good old days. Yeah, that kind of rock and roll attitude,
right,
sort of thing. That's really never changed. Which, hold on, let me make sure I don't.
Well,
Uh-oh. Are we recording? Okay. Sorry, just we're trying to keep things professional here.
Yep, edits.
But the rock, that rock and roll mentality and the sex, drugs, and rock and roll kind of thing.
Right.
That's been. I think it's interesting when it's bands that don't have that kind of sound, but they're like super rock and roll. Like finding out about like the Eagles were super coked out and throwing pianos and TVs out of Holiday Inns and stuff like that. Led Zeppelin, you kind of expect it. There's sort of
even the Beatles went to an extreme.
But the Beatles, but so the fact that the Eagles were like notorious partiers, and it's like
Joe Walsh. It's all Joe Walsh.
It's all Joe Walsh. Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned that. Because the band that I gave you to listen to, Motley Crue pulled a lot, especially the lead singer pulled a lot from the lead singer from the one that I gave you.
From at least David Lee Roth's kind of stylings, and although on Fair Warning he's like a little more introspective, kind of. You know, it's a little more the emotional side of Dave.
Dirty Movies doesn't really seem like
No, Dirty Movie, which is the weakest track on the album. Like I hate that stuff when Van Halen does the thing where it's like, you know, like has like the skits basically in the songs, you know, like
right.
You know, like Hot for Teacher, where it's got like the kids, like, you know, it's like dialogue in the songs and stuff like that.
You don't.
I don't like that. It reminds me of like those rap albums that would have all like the skits on them. And
so probably like in the song Unchained, where he goes, "Hello," or "Come on, like, Dave, give me a break."
Give me a break. One break. Yeah, like that's sort of like a mild version of it. That Dirty Movies or what's it called?
That's the second track. I think, I believe.
But is that the song name? Or like Naughty Pictures? What's it called? It's.
Sorry, folks, we've never done this before. We should have this memorized.
Microphone check. Okay.
I do like the guitar work in that song though. That like
yeah,
it's very high. It's very high pitched.
I mean, the guitar work's always solid with Van Halen, but there's something about, like, it's a little too tongue-in-cheek, I think, is, you know, and then plus it's like, you know, it's like a song about porn, isn't it? Like,
well, yeah, prom queen, and they're watching it on television.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't.
I mean,
it's the early '80s. You're looking for, like, listen to the.
I wonder which one came first, the Jay Giles Band song Centerfold or the Naughty Movies. What's it called? Naughty Movies. Dirty Pictures. Dirty Movies. Stormy Daniels.
Storms are coming.
Storms are coming. I used to say the name is Steamy Daniels, and my ex would be like, "That's so gross," and I'm like, "No, it does sound pretty gross."
It's like putting Fleetwood Mac and porn together.
Yeah, Steamy Daniels. Well, did you figure this out yet, or are you still
Dirty Movies?
Dirty Movies. Yep. So, so I don't especially like that song, but, you know, and then that guitar riff on Unchained is like your that's classic
like an actual
guitar
riff,
sound.
like
Yeah,
actual,
it's
like,
right.
Sinner Swings, you like that?
I pretty much, it's been a couple weeks since I listened to either of these, but I liked basically all of them other than the Dirty Pictures one. And then the Motley Crue album I liked pretty much.
Did you like that almost a little bit better than the Van Halen?
I think I probably liked the Motley Crue better than the Van Halen, although it had there's like a couple songs to the end that are a little more ballad-like, not merry-go-round, which I think you said you don't like, and I actually like that one a lot, but there's a couple others where it's like they're really weak songs, like, you know, that it just would have been better leaving them off.
It's funny, it's
entirely.
Hard to give you sometimes where some of that stuff is very basic that you'll freaking like it, where other things are very technical, and there's a lot of technicality at what you like too.
Yeah.
You know? So going back to our first podcast,
does this guy have a violin?
when I
violin
when
and
I
a music
proposed,
stand, or what's he?
I don't know. There's probably human trafficking going on too.
Well, that's going on everywhere. And what are you doing to stop it?
The podcast.
I'm not sure how it connects, but that's a start.
But it's very interesting that you are saying that the Van Halen or the Motley Crue albums you enjoyed more than Van Halen, but which is interesting because Motley Crue pulled influences from that band.
Yeah, they were definitely pulling influences from Van Halen, but it's it's their debut album, and it really captures them, like at a time before they were so arrogant, or
right.
the true, where the rock and roll mentality kind of really takes over and swallows the
it's very interesting
swallows
because,
the whole of the band.
When they did Shout at the Devil, their next album, their sophomore album, they were at that time they were like at their high peak of drugs. Like
in the book of The Dirt, they talk about how bad pretty much every album other than Dr. Feelgood, they basically say and this one had maybe 2 or 3 good songs, and the rest was filler, and we were all on drugs and not caring. Although this first one, I get the sense, it's sort of like when a band forms, sometimes you'll write 3 or 4 songs just right away, and that sets out the tone of the band, and for better or worse, and I think that's kind of
a root of the band.
And I think that's kind of what goes on with this Motley Crue record. Is it's that was established sort of what they were all about, and
could sound like
then it became like the hair metal thing, and then it's the big rock star attitude. That was no longer ironic, but instead was like the actual thing they were doing. But I say it's an indie record just as much as pretty much.
Something.
Yeah, or what was that? Is it Red Fang?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, how different is that Motley Crue record than that?
Right.
Big loud guitars and pretty traditional verse chorus verse setup. So those that's kind of I liked both the records though. But
I was glad that we picked those records too, because I know both of those records like the back of my hand.
And I didn't really know either. I picked the Motley Crue one for you, and you're like, I know that one. I was like, well, listen to it anyway.
I think that, obviously that you figured out that Daniels was fair warning, fair warning, and I don't know.
We were supposed to say the concept of the show, but it's too late.
You'll get that on the last episode.
Yeah. I think I'm good to call it good, partly because I don't know if I've maintained the proper tension, the hold on the microphone.
So every time it blanks out, he's cussing.
I'm cut. Yeah. Well, it won't blink out. It'll just sound thin and shitty. So
right.
So I think for the first older car that goes by as we watch the street, for the year that we choose for next week will be
like an old car.
Old car. So there's a 96 Chevy truck, so we could do 96. There's I think that's like a 98 or 99 Sable.
Let's go. See if we can get a little bit older.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. We're here on beautiful Montana Avenue tonight. That's 66.
We can do that.
All right. That'll be a 66. 1966. Next time we'll it was a red 66 Mustang.
Yeah.
By the way, hopefully it's sold by the time anyone sees this.
Right,
but
and this'll be
my Mustang is for sale. Make an offer.
So yeah, 66 should be good because I know old rock and roll, but not that
peppermints,
much. Right?
A lot of farfisa.
Right. So.
Yeah.
Anyways.
See you again.
Yep.